I'm doing a video here to show the kite in a little more detail, mostly to help people that are assembling the kite. When we assemble it, it takes a crew of at least 4 people in order to hold the pieces and assemble them in an actual wind. Let me zoom in here a little bit on some of the pieces. You can see that we've got a rectangular section that's made up of. We start by taking the 2 vertical pieces, called vertical stabilizers, and supporting those so they can't blow in the wind. We put in 2 stakes. So I'm doing this in the garage so it's out of the wind, but hopefully you'll get an idea here of how this all works. So 2 vertical stabilizers are attached to stakes in the ground so that they're safe, can't blow around in the wind. And then we put in this bottom wing section. Okay, the pieces all slide together. You'll note here how they look. There's a receptacle mounted on the stabilizer, and the wing is a hollow tube. By just pushing them together and then inserting a pin, they lock together. Now there's 3 pins, connectors and pins on each side. The center one isn't as critical, so if something happens where we can't get the pin in that, the kite will fly and be relatively safe. So we assemble that, then it's pretty stable, and we can add the upper wing. So these 2 wings are horizontal wings. They assemble the same way, so there's it's just a matter of slipping the pieces together and then inserting the pin, and there's 3 of them on each side. You might note that the wings are very fragile. Inside there's 2 carbon fiber tubes. There's a larger one at the bottom and a thinner one at the top. And at the front we've got a Lexan carbonate piece that's really just a spacer for aluminum rod that's bent around, and then it's wired and epoxied in place, so you get pretty good strength with that. So there's one at the center, or at the front that I just showed you, and then one at the center, and a similar one way at the back. Okay, so if we assemble that, put the 2 horizontal wings in, we've got a rectangular shape that's pretty solid. Now we need to put in the wires. So we cross 2 wires, so it goes from each corner up. Take a look at this corner, and it's similar in the back. The wires will be attached at the lower end. So this end, the attachment down here, actually has a cotter pin, and it's not made to come apart. The wires should be wrapped up at that end, so we need to loosen it in advance so that we can easily string it out, and then just connect it at the other end. The little piece of aluminum tube goes through the bracket, and if I can look at the back, it has a cotter pin or a spring clip that attaches there. So 4 more attachments now. The unit's pretty stable side to side. If I stretch it this way, the wire tightens up, and it's pretty strong. Okay, so a guy can take a break now, because this thing is stable, so you can organize the next step, which is putting on the outboard wings. And these are similar. They attach with slip fittings at the vertical stabilizer, and then spring pins go in. But then what holds it is 3 wires at the bottom, and so you have to be prepared. Have these strings laid out. These all roll up so they're located and cotter pinned at the vertical stabilizer, and the other end has to mount up. And again, the pin slips through, and then a spring clip holds it in place. Now there's one at the forward edge, mounts up here. At the back edge there's one that's mounted at the back edge of the vertical stabilizer, and then I've got one at an angle, and that mounts lower down here, and it mounts at the midpoint of the outboard wing. Okay, now there's obviously 2 of these, so you have to go over to the other side, and somebody has to hold that other wing while you do this side and run up the 3 wires to attach from the end point of the vertical stabilizer up to the end point of the wing and the fore and aft. So also repeat in the back, and then one that goes lower on the vertical stabilizer and goes to the midpoint of the wing. Okay, now somebody has to also hold that wing up, and then there's a wire that goes across the top between the 2 wings. Okay, and when that is in place, then the whole unit is stable and basically ready to fly. Now we need to hook up the control lines, and we put actually a box kite, a very stable kite on the back, a small kite to help stabilize it in flight as well. But that'll be another